Good morning, students. Well, we made it. Welcome back. Take out your snack. Get unpacked. Today is Friday, and we're going to review all of the things that we discussed this week about author's purpose, about our grade level story, and some of the really important parts, or the key details that we're learning about in here. So, last week we talked about key details being the WH questions. What? Where, when, and answering these questions can give us key details, okay? But this week we're identifying the author's purpose. Now, we didn't talk a lot about persuade, okay? Persuade, I just want to say, means to talk someone into something. There's a story called Eat Your Peas. Well, the author wants children to eat vegetables, okay? There's another persuade story where an author writes it to persuade people called recycle. And the author doesn't want you to throw garbage in the street. He wants you to think first about what is important to take care of the earth, using a garbage pail every time, okay? Or changing old garbage into new things. But he's going to talk you into that. He's going, no, you need to do it. This is really important. Like during the story, when you're reading it, that's how you're going to feel. You're going to feel like he wants you to, do better when it comes to recycling, when it comes to the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So, but the two we're really focusing on this week is to entertain. Authors write stories all the time to entertain us. The pigeon rides a bus, okay? William Carlos Williams wrote a story about a pigeon, a little bird, that drives a big school bus, a town bus. So that's fantasy. Okay, that's not giving us important, real information. That's entertaining us. We're laughing at it. We think it's funny. It's one of my favorite stories. And then we have the books that entertain, our science textbook, okay? And all the things we're learning about in here, we can go into our science textbook. So for example, our grade level story talks about gravity, okay? Well, I bet you, if I go to our science book, it's gonna say, gravity in the back of the book, and we can learn about that, okay? Because it's going to give us information. That science textbook has real pictures, real photographs that'll give us good information. When we're learning, it's trying to teach us something, okay? So we inform. The author informs or gives information, like when they got together, the authors, and wrote that science textbook. Someone put that together and wrote the words in there. And it's about real stuff. And then we have the silly story. No, David, he's picking his nose and all this other silly stuff. It's entertaining us. It's making us laugh. It's interesting. Okay, we're really, oh man, what David gonna do next? Oh, he's not listening. It's silly. Okay, so that's entertaining us or making us smile. All right. The grade level story is called I Fall Down. It starts off by talking about when you trip, what happens? You fall down, okay? And when you spill your milk, what happened? The milk drips down. What happened to the cork when I throw it in the air? It comes back down. The clothespin, I throw it in the air. It comes back down. Why doesn't it keep going? Because of gravity. It's a force pulling it back down to the ground, no matter what it is. It could be the fish, gravity's pulling it down. Could be the rubber ducky, gravity's pulling it down, okay? So then we ask the question, does it ever go up? No, gravity pulls things down, whether it's molasses, whether it's honey, whether it's milk, anything you dripped, whether it's you, if you fall and trip, you're gonna fall down. So gravity is a force, and it's as long as you're on the earth, you cannot get away from it. It's around us, okay? It's an invisible force. It's always pulling things, okay? Things in my house are on the floor. They're not on the ceiling because gravity's pushing them down. They're pulling them down, okay? So which way does gravity pull them down? We went over that. So we saw that with the molasses, with the dripping. It takes a very long time, but slowly drips down. The molasses will drip down and keep going. because gravity's going to keep pulling it. It's not going to stay on the spoon, even though it's very thick. So then they say have drop tests. So we started dropping things. So we dropped things that were heavy and things that were light, like the cork, and heavy, like the ruler. And when we drop them, they land at the exact same time. That's called a tie. There's no winner that landed first. There's no loser that landed second. They both landed at the same time, okay? So, but no matter whether the objects are big or small, heavy or light, you will not have anything that drops slower, okay? There'll always be a tie, unless it stops the wind like a parachute or like a tissue. The wind is slowing it down. It's not gonna come crashing down. It's very, very light. Maybe even a feather would do that, okay? So that would be a different type of circumstance. So there's no air on the moon. And the astronauts told us, and the author tells us this important information, is that everything gets pulled at the same speed, okay? And because of that, the astronauts proved that on the moon that there's no air and that gravity pulls everything in the same speed. So the astronauts helped us learn that things get pulled at the same speed. That's why they tie, even on Earth. On Earth and on the moon, but on the moon they were able to see that with their eyes, and they were able to share that with us, so we know gravity's a thing here too, okay? So then we did the, which is heavier, the sponge or the soap. Now I'd like to use my coin jar, that was 8 pounds, and the ping pong ball. This is a big, extreme example, but this is much heavier. I can barely hold it up. This is much lighter. So I can tell that the coins are much heavier. And then we talked about dropping the ground. You know, when you drop a light ping pong ball from a foot above, it barely hits your hand. You barely feel it. But if I took the textbook, oh boy, no, I can feel that. That's much heavier. And then if we wanted to really tell, we didn't have a scale at home, a scientific tool that measures, we could attach a rubber band. Yesterday we attached a princess shoe on one and a roller skate on the other one. Well, I guess all the wheels and the metal underneath the shoe and the roller skate is much heavier because the rubber band, we can tell, stretched a lot more. The other one was very short. So there's a couple really important clues that we picked up from this information in this story. I enjoyed this story. Gravity is an abstract concept, so it's hard to see. So that's why we do all these experiments so you can kind of have a better understanding. But one of the clues about the author's purpose is that gravity is a force that pulls things down. That's a real fact that the author gave us, real information. And he's trying to teach us something about gravity. He's explaining it. Another clue is that gravity pulls everything on the moon at the same time because there's no air on the moon. And then the author explains gravity is the purpose of writing this story, okay? I just wanted to review that. I hope everyone got a lot out of this, and I hope everyone has a super, super weekend. What's the purpose of the weekend? Well, the purpose of the weekend is to have fun, relax, and spend time with your family, okay? Boys and girls, have a great day. I'll see you on Monday.